Okay guys, this is a ABS delete how-to. So the first thing I want to cover is what exactly are you removing? Well, if you look at your engine bay off on the left passenger side, right here, all these lines are running to the ABS control unit, which you can actually see the top of right here. So that's essentially what we're removing, is a large box there, and all these lines are leading back to the prop valve, which you can't really make out. It's behind the lines that are going into your heater core. These two guys here. So essentially, this is what we're taking out. So what do we need to remove to get to this? Some people say you have to remove the fender, some people say you don't. This is the first time I'm doing this. So the first thing I'm going to start out doing is just removing this front splash shield. And once I get that out, I'll be able to see how I can get at it. I have had the front bumper off. Wish I did the ABS delete then, but it would have been really easy. But we're going to see if we can just get at it through here. If not, then I may think about the fender or going about it a different way. So let's go ahead and get started and take off these couple of bolts and screws that I have in here and these in here. These plastic ones, they may break. Basically, it's a little plastic screw that expands. It's like a fender screw, so you may need to get new ones of those, but those are available. So let's just get to it. Okay, if yours is really dirty, I just want to show you kind of where all your different connection points are. So you can see like the hole there, one on the side, into the other splash shield, kind of protects the transmission. So you got one, I still got to get that one. Got that one down there. Then you'll have some down along the base here. Alright, if any of them are giving you trouble like this guy is for me, just take a chisel or something sharp and you want to get in behind it and just punch through it. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Hammer works best if you have it. I don't have it nearby. Let me grab a hammer. There you go. This kind of shows you how it works. So the screw pushes through, spreads it out, but what happens is that they strip because they're old and brittle, and terrible decision by Mitsubishi. Now we can get this out of here. Okay, so now we can start to see what we're working with here. And again, this is the unit right here. Try to give you context. This one right there, see it right on my finger? That's one of them right there. And just as an example, this bolt is, I mean, it's kind of straight on to get to, but it's a little funky. This is called a wobble extension right here. I think it's a technical term for it. But essentially allows this to pivot so you don't have to be dead on. It can make things a lot easier on yourself, especially like when you're getting to do like downpipe bolts or something like that. But for example, this is what I would set up to get at that bolt back there. Start from back here to give you context. These are the next two bolts I'm going to take off. So again, well, not to make you upside down and dizzy, walk over here. You can see them right there. Okay? These two guys. There's the next bolt you can see in the middle of the screen right here that we're going to take off. So, to give you context, that's where it's the next bolt. To give you context where it is, if you come up under and behind the ABS unit, see it hiding right there in the middle of your screen? Get at that one. Again, these are 12mm. Next bolt we're going to do is going to make it easier because there's a bracket that goes up and then kind of reaches into the engine bay, so it makes it difficult to just drop out. But come back up under here, and I'll give you some light. See that bolt sticking out at the bottom right corner of your screen right now? That's what we're going to unscrew, and that's basically attached to a bracket that's going up and then turning in towards the car, so it's not dropping out. As well as the lines are still holding it, but I'll get to them in a second. Now I'm going to disconnect these two plugs right here, this one, just give me a little more space, and as you can see, they're part of the ABS control unit, so they're going to come undone anyway. And as a little tip, like this guy for example that I just unplugged, see how he has like this tab sliders? It's sliding onto that tab right there, that guy right there. So it's kind of easy if you pull this forward and then unplug it. This guy's kind of cool. He's like a big clip here. He unplugged pretty easy, but just a tip. All right, next bolt. Come up under the car here. Gonna shine a light. Okay, I'll even try to zoom in on it for you. The one you're seeing on the right there. Okay, before I get any further, I'm going to go ahead and get some brake fluid out of here and basically relieve all the pressure. And again, my strut is out. It's not necessary. My coilovers are out basically because I'm doing other stuff with them. It's going to be another how-to vid, but unnecessary for this job. You can get one of these. It's like a little bleeder kit from AutoZone. It's a little tube, just so you don't have it like dripping all over your rotors and your axle and the axle boot and everything like that. And essentially this end just slips over the bleeder valve here, which might be a little interesting because it's really cold. I may have to get a thicker line. I've given up. I'm just going to hold it. So essentially just loosening it, making sure this is on there like that. Alright, what I'm about to do is probably going to horrify some people, but so I'm just trying to drain more brake fluid out before I start cutting the lines for the ABS. But this is rusted solid, this is rusted solid, this is rusted solid. The STM ABS delete kit I have coming has a full new line for all this, all the way back to the prop valve. I don't think anyone's going to want to buy this off of me. I honestly wouldn't feel comfortable selling it. So I'm going to snip this and see how much I can get to drain in. I don't feel like disconnecting this. I have this loose, but I don't want to take the caliper off right now. I'm just going to cut through the brake line. Crazy ex-girlfriends don't watch this, 'cause this is what you would do to... I'm filming. One thing I am going to do is cover this up. I don't want anything getting in there and contaminating it. This one doesn't really matter. If something gets in, it's not going to crawl all the way up anyway, but I don't want something accidentally getting in there. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that up. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut the lines right here feed into the ABS box. Again, you could try to unscrew yours if you want to try to sell them, but mine are rusted really bad, so there's really no point. So I'm just going to cut them as close as possible, like 10 snips or something, and go ahead and get it out of here. Okay, so as you can see, I just snipped them all and I bent them up so fluid drains back into it. And then back here, I'm not really spilling brake fluid everywhere, just a couple little drops. So now let's see if we can wiggle this thing out of here. Alright, so anyone who says the fender has to come out, which I've seen people say, I don't think I have anything else deleted around this area that would affect that. So it obviously definitely doesn't have to. There's your ABS unit. Again, people wait, it counts once you get everything out for about 15 pounds, they say. But my God, does it clean up the engine bay, especially all the different lines running back there. Just simplifying everything. But it's a pretty hefty unit. Pretty ugly too. Here's an interesting thing. That bolt that we took off in the beginning up here, this one obviously underneath it had to come off, but now this whole bracket can come off. It's not really doing anything other than supporting that ABS unit.
I did film myself removing all the brake lines, but honestly it just makes the video way too long. All you need to know is the lines going to the front calipers. If you have the STM kit, just remove all of those. And when you're looking at the prop valve from the front of the car, the lines that go into the very bottom and the middle get removed completely as well. The two that feed into the top, they're the ones that are reused. They're the ones that go to the rear. So just trace them. And as you can see, I'm running through some photos, but no point in trying to film this part of the video.
Also, do something to cover up the hole right here. You don't want stuff getting in there. If there's one thing you listen to me in this entire video, it's what I'm going to tell you right now, is before you do this and try to break these lines loose, because you're going to be reusing the two rears, go to Craftsman or like Sears and buy their metric flare nut set. It's 10 millimeter. I believe that's what the size is for all of them. I haven't confirmed that yet. But get high quality. Don't get a Harbor Freight. You don't want to strip these, and you're going to have a hell of a lot of other problems. So go to Harbor Freight and get one of these. And then really all you have to do is use this to break it loose. And then, because it does get difficult because of the tight working area with the heater core hoses and everything, just come in with a regular open box wrench, 10 millimeter, and loosen it the rest of the way. But definitely get this. Do not try to do it without these. I think it was like 30 bucks, and it's amazing how easily and how tightly snug it fits and works. Secondly, if you can, if it's not your daily driver, or at least the night before you're going to do the job, hit everything with PV Blaster and let it soak. It works very well. These definitely wouldn't have come off last weekend. I hit them last weekend. I come back and they're breaking loose just fine. Hard to see around all these hoses, but essentially what I'm doing now is I'm taking the prop valve out. It's just one 12 millimeter bolt right in the middle of the valve. So just wanted to mention that I'm doing that next. You don't want to do this before you disconnect all lines, because as you try to unbolt the lines, the whole thing will twist. So it's nice to have it secured to the firewall while you're doing this.
Okay, you'll see that I don't really show myself installing it. I mean, I have a few photos here of it installed, but all you need to understand is how the system works. And the reason I don't is because the video I have describing it based off of the 3SI sketch, and it's pretty much wrong. You don't want to go off of that. Just listen to what I say in this next little segment.
Okay, the last part of this video is going to be describing how the brakes work, and essentially it's going to help you understand how to hook up your prop valve and essentially how it works. So what I'm going to draw, and this is pretending we're looking from the front of the car at the prop valve, so this is it mounted on the firewall. Essentially you have, you know, just a box, and there's kind of like two projections on either side, and then you have a place where a line can go in here and here at the two corners like that. Okay, and then the other thing we have going on here is the master cylinder, so we're going to draw it over here. And you have a line that feeds into the top of it, and you have a line that feeds into the side of it. And the line that feeds in the side, that's where it gets the brass crush washer that goes on either end of the actual hoop where it connects, and then you have the line that feeds out of that. Okay, so how do we know how to hook this up? Well, what you'll find is the diagram on 3SI is technically wrong. But first I'm just going to describe to you what happens here. This line is going to come down here, hook to here. This line is going to come down here, hook to here. Okay? So essentially what happens when you press on the brakes, it sends an even amount of pressure in this way and out this line. So you press on the brakes, and the brake fluid actually sits up on top here, on top of the master cylinder. But essentially it sends brake fluid down this line to this part of the prop valve, and down this line to this part of the prop valve here. And then what the proportioning valve does is it divides the amount that goes to the front brakes versus the rear brakes. So, and these are your rear up here, so we'll just write rear, front. And what I'm also going to add to this diagram is, and this is looking at like the top of the car, each wheel. Okay, so one thing we know from looking from the front is this line that comes off of the prop valve up top, it actually goes to this brake here, and this one goes to this brake. Okay? And then we have the two fronts. So with the all-wheels, the ABS delete kit that you get from STM, this wants to go here, and this wants to go straight out the side to here. So it actually goes straight out the side to your left and your right wheel. Now, why do we want that to happen? So essentially the idea is, let's pretend that this line fails. Well, the idea is when you step on the brakes, fluid still comes through to this side, okay? And as it comes in here, it then feeds in through here, and you still get brake fluid going to your front left tire here, and as it feeds into here, you get it going to your back right rear here. So you kind of have an even braking. Instead of having two wheels brake, which would actually kind of cause you to turn a little bit, especially under a harder braking situation, you kind of have this, still awkward, but more even braking. So these are two separate systems. The other thing the prop valve does, just for you people that don't know, when you think about it, when you step on the brakes, your car weight goes forward, which allows more friction on your front tires, which means you want more brake fluid, more pressure essentially, going to your front calipers rather than your rear, because the rear will lock up sooner since it's all the weight's coming off of them. So people actually put in a manual proportioning valve to control that, because from the factory it's set up a certain way based on weight distribution. But for people who do weight reduction, say you're removing your spare tire, your jack, and other things from the back of your car, say seats, you actually want even less braking force going to the rear wheels. So you can get a manual control, but that's only really recommended for race applications or if you really need that finite control. But essentially, this is the way you want to have it set up. So all you have to keep in mind is the stock lines going to the back wheels are retained, and the lines going to the front wheels, they're the new lines. And because these cross in this manner, you want these to go straight off to either side. Now, as I was learning all this and installing it, I was overthinking it, and I actually put in my prop valve the other way. But when you think about it, it doesn't really matter. If we flip this over, it's exactly the same. So don't be concerned that you see mine in there backwards. If you flip this around, it doesn't change the fact that these go straight off to the same wheel, the same side, and these cross. Because all that's key is that if one line fails, we get braking still going to opposite corners, no matter which line fails. So that's the overall theory, and hopefully that helps you understand how this system works. Okay, I don't normally make this part of my videos, but I figured, what the heck, I've seen other people do that. So it's basically like an unpackaging, an opening. So this is the STM ABS delete kit, so just to show you exactly what you get in it. If it matters, some of you guys, they ship it UPS, or not USPS, not UPS. So first thing you're seeing is the actual brake lines and the lines that go from the prop valve to the master cylinder. Should have 4 lines here. Seeing these are the ones connecting to the prop valve. Nice quality. They are, like they mentioned, stainless steel lines that have I guess it's called like a synthetic coating, but basically won't scratch anything. Give you a nice look at that. Hopefully it's focusing. These are all the fittings that hook into the prop valve.
as well as, I think, before it goes into the master cylinder. They also give you a couple of these brass crush washers in here. Good idea of what you get there. And last but not least, they say it's an OEM non-ABS prop valve. And that's always a good sign. There's a part number in case you guys want to order this. I don't know if it's available. I know people pull them off of cars, but that's the part number right there. I'm assuming you can order it since they have these, unless they bought a bunch at once. I'm not going to open it right now, but basically that's what that is there. And yeah, that's basically it.